The stage is set. The tension from the audience, the anticipation is building. It's palpable inside the venue. The lights go down. The opening melodies of the walkout track burst forth from the PA system. The visuals appear on the screen. The actors start to slowly take their positions. The first actor to arrive to make his way onto stage, the Pixie, drumsticks in hands, a slight gesture to the crowd as his flowing locks and the highlights of his blonde hair shine from the stage lighting. He takes his seat behind the throne, ready to provide percussion for the ensuing chaos. The second actor to appear, the Vampire King himself, loose-fitting white shirt, flowing long, luscious locks. He graciously takes his guitar from the stagehand while gesturing to the crowd, giving us some of that energy. He takes his position. Third to arrive, the master of the low end, in his cut off, sleeveless shirt, standing tall among the other men on the stage. He straps up his 5-stringed weapon of mass destruction to crush the low end and takes his position. The fourth to appear, the hipster, the man from another time, dressed as though you might see someone back in the 1890s or the early 1900s. The 6-string that he puts on himself, taken graciously from his guitar tech, seems almost odd, like it should be an acoustic as opposed to the glorious electric that it is. He takes his position, and then, finally, clad in black, the voice arrives. The crowd cheers. He stands upon his pedestal, and then the glorious opening chords to Zetsunai spring forth from the guitars. That melancholic, slow building, powerful track. The show has commenced. The emotion radiating from the voice, his powerful delivery, the stoicism of his bandmates. The audience, we're not witnessing a show. We're experiencing a raw, emotional play, a musical, if you will, brought forth to us. Our senses pulled and pushed and torn and battered and assaulted by the different songs being performed. Zetsunai siegs into Ningen Wukaburu. The Setlist is calculated to bring forth the emotions, the pain, the agony, the anger, the rage, the sorrow, at some points the remorse. As the band expertly plays with the crowd, weaves in and out of each song seamlessly. The mood continuing, the emotions continuing to build and build and build until the final track of the Setlist, World of Mercy, ends. The voice pantomiming, using the microphone cord as his own intestines as he spills them out. the emulation of that self-destruction is complete. The emotions fade slightly. The actors leave the stage. The cries of encore grow louder and louder. The cheers. The band returns more energetic. They engage the crowd. And they light into the followers. The encore is commenced. The band are more loose. The actors being more playful now that the intensity of the first several acts have finished. Followers seek forth into Gaika. The crowd screams, giving all of the energy that we have pent up back to the actors on stage. The track ends. The voice finally addresses the crowd. Houston, he cries. Houston, he cries. The crowd answers again. Houston, he continues to cry. The crowd continues to scream back. Building, building, and building, and building. Last song, he screams. The crowd continues to give back. Last song, he screams. The crowd continues. Throats ripping. The pain is, the voices are struggling to give everything they have back to the actors on stage. Last song. The band launches into Utafumi. Blistering through the song. Last bit of energy from every single one of the actors being given to the crowd giving it back, reciprocating back and forth. Finally, the song ends. The actors interact with the crowd. The voice bows and leaves. The Vampire King throws picks. The Master of the Low End throws picks. He smiles. He waves. The hipster throws picks, throws water. The pixie interacts. He smiles. He flourishes. And finally, after all the picks have been given, 5 or so more minutes of interaction, the actors depart for good. The roughly 90-minute journey has ended. The emotions start to subside. That euphoric buzz is palpable among the crowd for what they have witnessed. Thus is the experience that is This Way to Self-Destruction from Duran Gray, Houston, in 2019. You want to hear a more detailed version of what I have to say about the show? I will see you inside the video. I love you guys. What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Duran Gray, This Way to Self-Destruction, Houston, 2019. First time in the U.S. in a couple of years. Second to last show on the tour. And it was an amazing experience. The crowd was really strong. The venue, as always, put on a well-staffed, well-executed show. Crowd control is outstanding. From handling guests to making sure everything went really well. Merch booth was handled professionally. I can imagine that the bartending was done as well as it has been in the past, but that is something to expect from a venue chain like House of Blues. Durham Gray played several House of Blues locations on this tour, Houston being the last U.S. date, with the final date happening in Mexico City a couple of days later. Massive thank you to the venue. It's always amazing when you're dealing with and attending a show at a venue that is that professional, that well-oiled, and truly has their stuff together in that manner. The sound was absolutely amazing. I could not personally have wanted or asked for a better front of the house mix. Even standing off to one side of the stage, myself and my brother Bart were on Dai's side of the stage, the Vampire King himself, the man of the luscious flowing locks, who is now 45 years old and still crushing it. I hope I look that good in 5.5 years. Still managed to get the full spectrum. I still was able to hear everything that normally you would be able to catch in the middle. If you're standing in the middle of the stage in between monitors, you're still able to catch all of that clearly and get all that articulation from Kuru's guitar work on the right side of the stage. Was not missing anything. The drums sounded massive. All of the samples and backing tracks that Durham Gray utilized came through very clear, very crisp, and at no time did they overpower the mix as far as the guitars, the drums, the bass work, and the vocals, which is wonderful. Honestly, I kind of wish that this level of mix was present on the record. Absolutely fantastic live mix. Even walked up to and thanked the front of the house sound guy, who was only about 15 or so feet from during the set as I was walking out of the venue, because he deserved to be commended, he and his partner in crime, because the sound truly was that good. The venue only had the bottom floor of House of Blues open, so my guess is the crowd was right around 450 to 500. Total capacity for the venue is actually only about 1,000. So smaller venue, very intimate show. I was towards the back on the floor and maybe 25 feet. 30 feet from the stage at the longest, but not very far. Great sight lines, able to see everything. Sound was fantastic. The show. I got to be honest, I cheated. I was told by a couple of you wonderful people that I interact with on a weekly basis or every other daily basis on Facebook that it was basically going to be the entirety of Insulated World plus World of Mercy plus Merciless Cult, and there were going to be 2 rotating tracks in the Encore. Followers was one that they've been rotating in and out. That one was played, and it's typically the second track, or the first 2 tracks that are rotating in and out. The second track was different. It was the only time that on this tour that I know of, because I didn't look at the Mexico set list, that Geico was played. So that's awesome. Really happy to get that track in the set list. Actually, one that I had not heard because I haven't had a chance to listen to Ouroboros yet. Saving that to do here on the channel. I did listen to Merciless Cult on the way up because I did want to hear the track and be somewhat familiar with it when I got into the set. And the set list was executed so well. I've actually gone and reordered the tracks to include World of Mercy together in a playlist, and that's now how I'm listening to the Insulated World record. I I have cheated. I did slip the track Merciless Cult in there in its part of the track order because honestly, that track is so seamless and it flows so well. Other than the tuning differences, it truly sounds like it could have been part of the record. And it just shows truly how strong the record is live, or how strong the record is, period. And one of the biggest sticking points I did have with the record in general is the track order. It's very front loaded. The way they have organized the set list and they're playing it on these dates, to include the Japanese dates recently, is amazing. It really allows the record to build. I'll put a link to the set list in the video description. But it allows the record to build incredibly well and really have the impact that I've always thought the record could have. So the track order is amazing. The tracks came out so well live. And the band was so locked in. The interplay between Kuru and Dai is amazing. It's nice to be able to see a band be able to play an entire record. There's a lot of bands out there who write tracks, but they're just too hard to execute in a live environment. A lot of your favorite bands have certain tracks they simply will not play live because they are so difficult. And it's really clear watching this record performed live that when they wrote it, that was a focus in mind. They wanted the tracks to sound great. They wanted to be able to play them live and not have a whole lot of issues with it. And it comes across that way. It really does. It's just a phenomenal record to hear in a live environment. My brother, who doesn't have a ton of exposure to the band, absolutely loved the set, enjoyed it. The tracks are easy to headbang to. They're easy to lock into. They're amazing. I took one picture. It was posted right after. It was posted the day after the show. It's up on my Instagram page. The reason I only took one picture is because, as I said in the opening to the video, my narration of the concert, if you will, that it felt like a play or a musical as opposed to a live show. And I was so sucked in to the performance that I did not want to miss anything, to come out of that headspace and that mindset and where I was at emotionally to take a picture. I just wanted to stay in that moment until the set ended. So I took one shot during, I think, about the midpoint through Zets and I, and that was it. And I don't regret that because the set builds so well. They put breaks in great spots. I love the opening 1-2 punch of Zetsunai and Nigamu Kuburo. I love how it shifts into Rubbish Heap and Devote My Life. Kibitsu, which opens the record, actually works great in track 5. And the combination of Celebrate Empty Howls, Merciless Cult, bookending Aka is just amazing. You get those heavy, intense, groove-laden battering rams with my absolute favorite track on the record in Aka to help break that up. And it's spaced at track 7, which is just after the midway point of the 13-track main set. So it does provide you a bit of time to breathe. I love how they do execute tracks and keep the mood going during instrument changes because they do go through several tunings, and those instrument changes are definitely required. but they never break character. They clearly have certain tracks where they're able to let loose a bit more. It's great during, I don't remember the track, where the band came down to the stage and both guitar players were locking in. And there was some movement, but there's also a lot of backing vocals going on, which I was really happy to see. They're taking some of that pressure off. Kyo, Toshia is doing a lot more backing vocal work. I think he's got a great voice for it. He fits with what Kyo is doing. And it truly allows Kyo to save his voice a bit. I love the way Kyo sounds live. He's not a perfect singer, and he never should have to be. I love Breakup. I even love it when he goes for a note and he misses. Live, it doesn't have that massive amount of post-processing and vocal layering on the vocals. He had a bit of compression. He had a bit of gain. There was certainly some reverb, even a touch delay, even maybe a touch delay in certain spots on his voice, which is completely understandable. But not having all that layering that his vocals get on a record, his voice sounds so good live. And it does have that feeling of when he does go for those big notes, like in Aka or Ranunculus or some of the notes and values, and he misses, which is completely understandable, especially when you're in the middle of a tour and you've got such a demanding vocal. I actually find it more endearing. I think that he sounds amazing live. And I truly respect the man for what he does as a character. And let's be honest, that's what it is. Kyo has a persona that he uses on stage. He goes into that headspace and he puts on this troubled, emotional, angsty, self-destructive persona. He plays this character with all of his different choreographed and even ad-libbed movements, the way he shifts through these different dance moves and lunges into that platform for those heavier vocals. And he just has this level of charisma that's an intangible quality that can't be taught, that just grabs the crowd and has you eating out of his hands, has you hanging on his every word. It's like you are truly in the moment, sharing that anguish, that pain, all those different emotions with the man. That's amazing. The fact that it takes until the end of the 16th track for him to actually truly address the crowd. I mean, he did speak at points throughout, but it felt more of a rambling to himself as opposed to an actual addressing of the crowd. The fact that he really only addressed the crowd with 2 words, with Houston and with 3 words. Houston and last song, the only things he spoke in English the entire show. The only times he really addressed the crowd was coming in to Fumi. And the crowd went absolutely nuts. That shows the spell that he's able to cast on an audience. What they do is very unique. I've seen some amazing bands that do perform as a theater or a theatrical act as opposed to a concert performance. To me, what they do is like a depressing, self-destructive version of what Trans-Siberian Orchestra creates. It really is a theatrical performance as opposed to just a concert. Even the Proto-Men, who were incredibly theatrical when all of their stuff is themed, they do a lot of crowd interaction. They talk back and forth. They work the crowd. They play to the crowd. And you get some of that. Dai does a lot of that himself during each song. And I noticed that he could really just feed off his energy. And man, was he on fire. So energetic. So into it. You could just tell after the show truly how much he was enjoying himself, and the fact that he on the tour turned 45 is a testament to the man. Incredible to watch him perform. He certainly deserves to be in a shampoo commercial like Pantene Pro-V or something with those glorious, luxurious locks. And I say that as a very straight man, by the way. It was absolutely amazing. It's different for me being from the US, being so spoiled, even being a former concert promoter myself, to watch one band and only get 90 minutes. So that was a little different. Because typically when one band in the US performs a show, they're playing for 2.5, 3.5 hours. You go see an Evening with Dream Theater show and they're playing for 3.5 to 4 hours by themselves, which is insane. It's also highly demanding and it takes a lot out of you. But typical shows in the US are 2 to 3 bands and they run 4 hours. So it was really weird to walk out of the show at 9:40 or 21:40 for those of you that use 24-hour clock. It's very, very interesting. Show started at 2010 roughly, or 8:10 local time, which is Central Time here in the US. And the set was just so well executed. I thought the crowd was great. Some purists think that you should be quiet during Kyo's self-destructive moments. I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because Kyo and the other band members have said before, they feed off the crowd's energy. If the crowd is screaming and giving that energy to the band, then they're going to reciprocate. They're going to take that and give it back. And it's so rare that they come over to the US as opposed to Japan, where Japan knows they're going to get a bunch of dates every year. The US crowd wants to give back, possibly in the hopes that if we give enough back to the band, they'll come over more and they won't forget about us. Because there is a big crowd. There is a crowd here that loves them. I'd love to see them play bigger places. But at the same time, I won't complain about just catching them in a small, intimate setting, being so close to the stage and not paying for VIP entrance or for skip the line and still being able to get a great spot where I probably didn't even have 300 people in front of me, if that. I mean, I probably had 200 or so people, maybe a crowd of 5 or 10 people, 10 people in a row in front of me, if that, or going vertically. So it wasn't that much, and we were comfortably located against the beam towards the table area and at a great spot. So hopefully that energy and giving that and screaming will make the band realize, hey, we'll come back a little bit more. It would be amazing to see. I know it is difficult to come to the US visa-wise, and the fact that the country is so bloody big, but the US crowds spend money, and we certainly would love to see them more. They're not going to make this kind of money per show they make in Japan because they're a Japanese band and that's where they've got their teeth. But we love them here. I know Canada would love to see them again. I know Mexico would love to catch more than one date. So that's one of the reasons why we do yell and scream, and that's what bands here in the States expect. You go see a thrash band, which is where I cut my teeth, and go see Exodus or Testament or Megadeth or somebody like that, they want that crowd constantly chanting their lyrics. They want that reciprocation, that energy. Saw Corrosion of Conformity earlier in the year. I've seen Corrosion of Conformity many times. That band thrives on. So different ways that different crowds interact. We're a bit more loud and more obnoxious here, and though we don't come anywhere close to the incredible crowds in Europe and what they do metal wise. So I'll be completely honest about that. But Western audiences are different than Japanese audiences, but I think the crowd did a great job. Most of them knew the lyrics, and Scream the One KO put the mic out. I think Values is an amazing track live. Just love that track. One of my favorites on the record, and they do a great job with it. Reniculus was amazing. Followers has such a great melody to it. Loved it. Bringing Out Geico was great. Slipped in right in front of Utafumi. And as much as I didn't like Utafumi at first, that's a hell of a way to close the show. Absolutely enjoyed it. I didn't get a chance to interact with people as much as I wanted, which is unfortunate. Didn't get a lot of people. And my brother was hungry at that point. He made the drive down from the Austin area, and I'd come up from South Texas. So kind of met in the middle. We were pretty hungry afterwards. And we've both been on the road a while. So would have liked to have seen that. However, it didn't happen. Great show. Loved it. Loved the experience with the fans that I did get. Loved sharing the experience with my brother. Cannot wait to see them again. As good as they were, even though it's only one band, I might be tempted to at least once go to Japan at some point and catch a live there, just simply for the experience of it all. It felt amazing. Absolutely enjoyed every single second of being there. Massive thanks to the band for coming over and giving the US shows again. I truly appreciate it. Thanks to all of you here on the channel. It's been an amazing experience for 2 years. It truly felt like a culmination of all of that, getting a chance to see these guys live, one of the bands that truly helped break this channel open. And all of you are in my thoughts during and after the show. Waiting for my voice to clear up for a couple of days to be able to share this with you. Thanks for being so patient about it. I love you. I cannot wait to get a chance to start cranking out content more frequently again. Hope you enjoyed the opening. If you guys want me to do more show reviews when I do catch a show similar to that kind of narrative style in the beginning, let me know. I'd love to know how you feel about that. As always, it was completely unscripted. I had some ideas, but I don't write any scripts down. I just kind of go off the cuff, which leads to rambling sometimes, but I prefer it that way. I'd rather be me than act off a script. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to my law enforcement, military, veterans, and first responders, which you do every day, as always. You guys have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other and keep it banging.